Welcome to What's Your Alley Oop. This is a space where we talk about business, real journeys, and the moments that move people forward, and the people who make a lasting impact because no one builds anything alone. Today, I'm joined by Nadine from Matchmaking Nashville. Welcome, Nadine.
Hi. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
Well, we're going to get started by tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, and then we're going to go way back and start from the beginning of how this all started.
Sounds good. Well, I'm Nadine. I own Matchmaking Nashville. I'm a matchmaker and a dating coach. And my business serves anybody that who is serious about getting into a relationship, that wants to date better, get ready to date, uh, be, improve their mindset, build their network, and just find that partner that they're been searching for.
Tell us a little bit about how this whole journey started. How did you end up in matchmaking and coaching, and where does it all start?
Yes. I was always a connector. I always was in love with love. So I used to match my friends in college. But then I took a corporate career for 20 years. And that took me everywhere in the world. Well, not everywhere in the world, but I traveled a lot with my company. And when I finally settled in Nashville, I was single. And I was like, what do I do now? I have a pretty good job and I'm an executive and I don't want to be using dating apps or anything like that. So I searched for a matchmaking service. And the experience was great and not so great in the same time because I did I did find a partner from that engagement. And on the other side, the process was not as I expected. And I thought, you need to do this locally. You need to coach people better. You need to do so many things differently. So that was my first approach. And I was like, oh my God, this is a business. And I've been doing it just for a hobby.
Yeah.
So I ended up wanting to get certified. I looked for where can I get certified? What are the associations? Who are the best matchmakers? And I ended up taking myself as my first client because that relationship that started in the with the matchmaking company, it ended. We had different goals, so I found myself single again, and I was like, now I'm a matchmaker. And I decided to take my own advice and just do more coaching first, just get ready. And that's when I discovered dating coaching and dating coaching programs and that's how I took my own myself in the journey of testing it. And once I tested it and I was like, okay, now I am ready to date. I have the right mindset. I have the right tools because I'm a matchmaker. So I just need a database. So I use the dating apps as a research project.
Interesting.
I wanted to put myself through the pain at that point. I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna take myself as a client and I'm gonna use the dating apps for research. And that's how I find my partner. So I can tell you that I was my first success story. And I used the principles from matchmaking, the what I've learned from dating coaching, and I tested it and it worked. So that's when I decided to just be all in and start my business and do it locally just to serve the local singles that they sometimes don't have the tools or the resources to build a network. So I do that for them.
Interesting. So was there a particular moment where you were like, "Yes, I'm gonna do this." Do you recall a moment that happened, or do you think it just sort of evolved and then just one day you all of a sudden were like, "Wait a minute, I'm doing this."
I think there were two moments. One was when I found the partner with the matchmaker, when I was like, look at what you can do. You can bring all this joy to a person. That was my first moment. The moment when actually decided to do it myself and I found the partner and I found love again. And it was so much better because I had worked on myself. That was the second moment. That was when I said, I'm leaving my job. This is my passion. I want to bring joy to the world. I just found my purpose, and I know now that it actually works with this process that I'm envisioning.
So how does that feel for you? Like you said you found your purpose because you did some corporate work before that. And then,
Mhm.
do you think that the corporate work has influenced what you do? Do you think it's, like just the transition of moving that into this and then finding that this is your purpose now and, just how that influenced each other?
Yes, I think everything led up to it because my career was in supply chain. And one of the things that early in my career, I started leading projects and then leading people. And I started hiring people, coaching them, mentoring them. And I realized that the thing that I enjoyed the most was when they achieved their goals.
Mm.
It's like, okay, yes, you can be promoted again, or you can be sent to another challenge, another country, and do the same things in supply chain. But my real passion was when I saw the people that I hired or that I coached or that I mentored actually grow so much in the company. So recruiting, coaching, and mentoring. And while that was not for love, it was for the career. So
Right.
I that on the in the corporate world, that's what I was like, yes, if I could do only this in my job and not the
Yeah.
stressful going through a crisis and supply chain issues
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of these things, like, that's it's rewarding when you solve a challenge, but when you actually help a person achieve their goals is so much more rewarding. So that part from the corporate world, I'm bringing to this. And then the other part is just my passion for connecting people, because I moved so much that I always had to make new friendships.
Mm.
So I became really good at connecting with people and at just starting from zero and just building friendships and building communities. And oh, you should talk to this person. So I think that's when I found the two worlds collide. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I love mentoring, I love recruiting, I love coaching, and I love love.
Yeah.
So this is my purpose. I
Yeah.
found that, and I can make a business out of it, because at the end of the day, you also want to make a living.
Right.
Not
Right.
you want
That's
to follow
important.
you want to follow your purpose, but you also want to make sure that this is something that is needed for the community, and that is actually is going to bring abundance, not only to the people that you help, but to you as well.
So you have to talk a little bit about why you love love so much. Since you're a matchmaker, we need to hear from you on love.
Well, that's a good question. That I've always been in love, since I was a teenager. I always thought love is the best place to be. I had my parents that loved them love, and my dad was very romantic, and all of this, and the movies, and just my own relationships. My best self always showed up when I was in love, or when I was showing love.
Mhm.
So that's part of it. I just think people are not meant to be alone. I
Mm.
just think people shine better when they have a partner. And that's been my experience. And, I've had several monogamous relationships. And it's just so different when you feel like somebody has your back, when you feel like you have a companion that makes you laugh,
Yes.
when you have a problem and they're there for you, you know. So that's love, and just giving love, it just comes back to you too. So it's the part about giving love, helping, and just having somebody to share life with. Life is not meant to be done alone. I don't think. I mean, at least from my experience, that's that's what I think.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it brings joy into our life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if we can have more connections, like ultimately, I want the world to be better. And I think a world that has joy and has love is better. There are a lot of situations now in the world where we're being divided,
Mhm.
and my intention is always to connect. So
Yes.
I think it will be a better world. I think if I can do something for the world to be better is bring love,
Yeah. I
bring
love it.
connection.
I'm curious to, you said you moved around and you've worked in a global company. And how do you think that's influenced your ability to connect with people?
So much because I've had to adapt to different languages. I had to adapt to different cultures. And I was always so curious about how things are done in different places. And I've been one who says, like, I don't want to read about it, I want to live it.
Mm.
So I've immersed myself several times in different cultures, and it's just so eye opening. I feel like it has changed my life just because I've been able to be exposed to a lot of travel. My first international travel was when I was 11, and it was an international camp, and where I met people from all over the world.
Mhm.
So I think that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, I talked to these people and they're from France and they're doing this and they're saying this different. And then there's these people from South America and then these people from Germany. And, it was, I don't even remember I'm not even going to say the year because it's going to tell my age. But, um, but back then we didn't have the internet. We didn't have anything else.
Right.
So all you had is your experience and this person that you met from a different country and
Mhm.
and what you were able to exchange with them in the language that you could speak.
Yeah.
At that point it was a little English and a little Spanish. But yeah, just being curious about people, just asking them questions and being and receiving all this information and being able to adapt, because
Mhm.
when you live in different countries, you have to really get immersed into the cultures, and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I was like, if I'm in the US, I'm going to live the American way,
Mhm.
and if I'm in Spain, I'm going to live the Spanish way, and if I'm in France, I am going to live the French way, and I'm going to eat what they eat, and I'm going to go where they go, and I always wanted to like be local. I didn't want to be a tourist. I wanted to be
Yeah.
local where I went. So I think that influenced a lot of my ability to adapt and to connect and to be curious about people.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's when we started at the beginning about like your journey is we've now it's actually even going further back. When you were very young,
Yeah.
that your experiences even at that young age probably has led you here.
Ye-
From the very beginning.
Yes, from the very
Yeah,
beginning. It's exactly because it
yeah,
was always connection. And I thought, because when I had that experience, I thought it led me to international trade, right?
right.
Because international trade, you're gonna be able to talk to other cultures and
Hmm.
exchange but that was very transactional in a way.
Yeah,
But the truth is that there's so much more than just the trade and the international relationships. There is the love and the connection that's behind too.
yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like you're in the perfect spot for yourself now. And you have a ton of experience, a ton of experience that it's interesting because I think when we think about like dating coaches or coaches in general, that, sometimes it feels and we can look at it very narrow when we need to kind of back up and say it's not quite that narrow. Like you have a lot that you bring to the table. If you consider all the way back from being young and being immersed in, international environments very early and then, as you're going on and then you go into a career where you're working in global business and you're working and you're managing people and then all of this starts to happen, and then that sort of teaches you, oh, I love how these wins are happening for people and bringing them together. And then that sort of leads into, oh, I love love too. And that's also been from your childhood because you
yes.
grew up around a father that was romantic.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think so. I was always in love with love. very very young age, I was like, oh, look at that, look at the wedding, and
Yeah.
look at the wedding, look at the couples, look at the hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think I was fortunate to be able to do all of this travel and all of this learning of languages and adapting to different cultures. I love to put that experience to use for
Mhm.
people, because it just expands your mind. And that's what
I agree.
a coach is always trying to do, just get you to expand your mind to possibilities.
Yes. Yeah. So in this new sort of field that you've taken on, is there anything that surprised you that you didn't expect?
Uh, it surprises me. I think it sometimes surprises me the ability for people to connect. Like sometimes they just need a little help, but they bring the best attitude and the best foot forward. So that surprises me in a good way. Sometimes it surprises me in a challenging way when I see how much people hold grudges and have not healed and are not ready for love. They think they're ready for love, but they're not ready for love, kind of thing. So I've gotten surprised both ways where like, oh my God, like look at this person. She just needed a little help and a little shift to actually achieve their dreams or having a great partner.
Mhm.
And then I see other people who it doesn't matter what person you bring to in front of them. um they don't love themselves. They're closed. They're closed up, and I never thought, I'd meet someone that is just not going to be ready for it.
Right. Right. I guess that kind of also points to the advantage of working with a dating coach. On whether it's yeah, I mean, like you are actually able to identify and say, "Hey, this is a good match or not." I mean, you're definitely in there to help with that. But also, if someone comes to you to connect, you probably are. Well, obviously, you're able to say, "Hey, I don't think you're ready." You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I actually created my offer where, even though matchmaking is the most um comprehensive program, the high end, I try to get people to coaching first, always. And unless I really think, you know what, no, you're ready. I can see it. I can feel it that you are ready. I'm asking you the right questions. You're answering the right way. Um, but for the most part, I do think that you need to prepare yourself, and I do see more faster success with coaching than with just the matchmaking. So matchmaking includes both. Like my programs always include the coaching and the debriefing, but sometimes it's just you just need to make some changes and come up with your own answers and your own paths. You just need a guide. You just need support.
Do you think that that might be why a lot of when people go out and do this on their own, why a lot of it, there's a lot of failure to it? Because I hear that all the time. There's just not. It takes a while to figure out even who you should be. Who is the right person for you. I think there's a lot to learn in that process. Where I could see where a dating coach would be huge in helping to speed that up. Even.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't know who they are. They don't know what they want.
Mhm.
Um, they haven't healed. So when they try it on their own, they just try to do the same thing everybody's doing, which is just to try and meet people. And they get exhausted after many dates where they're not finding what they want, but they don't look at how they're contributing to it, or that they don't even know what they want, or they're being attracted to the wrong people because of their history, because of their own triggers. Sometimes they feel like, oh, I have sparks. and their sparks are really triggers
Right.
that remind them from an abusive relationship or from something that didn't work in the past. But this opportunity brings the same feeling of uneasiness, and it is confused by people by like chemistry,
Right.
they think it's chemistry when it's really something inside them is telling them like, oh, this makes me nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's kind of like take a turn and talk about just your experience in
Mhm.
building the business. And when you kind of started with the concept of what you were going to do, and you're thinking about your brand, and all the parts of it of who am I right now? What am I creating? What was your sort of process of figuring that out?
Yes. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to come up with the brand, especially because when I left my job, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to do consulting because I had so much corporate experience. So I wanted to do consulting. I wanted to do coaching, recruiting. I wanted to do matchmaking. I wanted to just fit so many things
Mhm.
in. And I was lucky because I have a really good friend. She used to be the vice president of marketing in my company, and we became real friends. And she helped me. Obviously, she knew more about marketing than I did, and she helped me. From building the logo to well creating the logo and where to go for to get that done, how to set up my company, how to just like encompass everything that I wanted to do. And that's how I launched. Actually, my company was launched as Enable LLC. That's the initial name of my company, and that's the company that included all of this umbrella. Matchmaking was a branch of it. And she helped me build a website. I learned how to do a website. I learned how to connect to payment. I learned so many things from her, and I am so grateful because she helped me navigate all that. Because I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that, but I don't know how.
Right.
And there's no one person that can teach you everything, but she really knew how to navigate through this because she also had put another company with her sister. She has helped so many people, but she also knew the basics about marketing. So, and even though I thought I knew the basics about marketing, it's just so different when you're trying to do it, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to call this company. I don't know how
Right.
I'm going to communicate, and how am I going to do all these things. So that was really she was really a lifesaver. And so I created Enable, and then created the LLC, created my first website, everything, and then I was just like, but you know what? How am I going to pitch all of this for so many different things? So I started to get involved with the matchmaking community, and I started to go to like their conferences, and I became part of the Matchmakers Alliance and all that. And that's when I met another person that really like blew my mind in terms of he said, are you doing matchmaking in Nashville? And I said, yes. And in that moment, he took his phone and he looked at the domain Matchmaking Nashville and he said, buy it. He said, you're going to benefit more from this. Like we were having dinner or something in the same table. And he said, you're going to benefit more from this conversation that you can ever imagine. And it's true. And I still grateful to him too. Um, because I purchased the domain and I was like, of course, I needed, if I really wanted to focus on matchmaking, because my idea was always to focus on matchmaking. I did the other things because I had the knowledge. I still at some point gonna come back to it, but um, but my excitement and my passion and everything was telling me like just focus on matchmaking first.
Yeah.
So that's when I created Matchmaking Nashville, and I put it underneath enable. So basically, it's a doing business as, it's a DBA from the parent company, which is enable. And I bought the domain. I did my new website,
Yeah.
so now I have two websites. I'm getting to be an expert on that. But I that's how it all came about, and so now I have a name, and it's a local name, and it's a name that is very clear
Mhm.
on what I do, you know?
Yeah, that's a huge benefit. I mean, there's no question when you see Matchmaking Nashville, you know exactly what that is.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And there wasn't anybody. And because one of the reasons why I wanted to do it locally was because the so-called local companies weren't serving the real big Nashville market. So so yeah, that was one of the best conversations too.
Yeah. It's amazing how just one small little conversation along the way can change the direction of your entire company.
Yes.
Something about it so significant.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that always brings me back to the power of connection, because you have to be able to connect to the people that know, and you have to be able to be in the circle of the people that know how to do matchmaking, and that are experts on that role.
Right.
So if you think about it, we can't know everything. So people don't know a lot about dating, but I've done my job. I've done my work so that I can provide them help. And these people have done it already, so they can help me to do this too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. We're talking about the power of connection and what you're saying about experts and people around you. And I mean, you've talked about that multiple times, how this person stepped in and helped you with marketing. This person stepped in and helped you with the name. And I'm sure there's other examples too that where we don't do it alone. We don't do it alone. And even though I think the company comes from you and your thoughts and your experience, and it is so you, which is why it's great to hear from a founder because the company is that person to some degree, you know. And but there's all these people that step in along the way, and at times that you maybe don't even expect it to happen, that really change things and help you in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everything that I am right now is thanks to the connections that I've
Mhm.
made. You know, it makes me better. I've learned so much. You know, I've had mentors. I met in this the same conference. I met a lady who used to be the CEO. Sorry. Who used to be the CEO of the Global Love Institute. And I also had a conversation with her, and she became my mentor. And actually, I got another certification with her as Premier Matchmaker, but she actually helped me get my first client. And she guided me through that process. So everything that we offer is a combination of all of those people that have influenced us and that have helped us along the way. And
Yes.
obviously, you want to give it back, right?
Absolutely. And you're giving it back constantly. That's what you do for a living. You are giving back
Yeah.
every single day.
Yes.
Well, Nadine, my final question is what's your alley oop? But I think you've already told us three instances of where someone has stepped in and assisted you and helped you. And I appreciate that through this conversation. You've definitely demonstrated for all of us of, the tenacity and your own experience and what you've built because of who you are. And then also the people that have stepped in and you've taken the advice of and you've brought along your journey and you've created something pretty amazing because of it. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I've had a lot of people along the way. And that's why I think what you're doing is also so amazing, because you are helping connect other founders and other entrepreneurs with their audiences and
Yeah.
with other founders too. So um so thank you too.
Well,
Thank you
thank you.
for
Yeah.
having me and for building this platform as well.
Well, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So to close us out, um, thank you again, Nadine, so much for being here. I think one of the most powerful reminders from conversations like this is that success is rarely a straight line, and none of us truly build alone. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us on another episode of What's Your Alley Oop? We'll see you next time.